Hello, 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 everybody. It is so good to see all of your non-existent digital faces in the chat. Wow, welcome to this very, very special final one-shot indeed of Godkiller, The Last Dance, featuring the one, the only, incredible Katie May and Lyrica of Death to Divinity fame. Sparkle, sparkle, ooh, ah, ooh, ah. This is an immensely special game that I'm so excited to share with the world and all of you here right now. So thank you so much for tuning in. Godkiller truly would not be possible without the support of all of you beautiful queer and trans heretics in chat tonight right now. So if you don't already know and you're tuning in for the Death to Divinity goodness, or you're coming here from the Clock app or something and you're like, what the heck is Godkiller? I'm gonna tell you right now. Godkiller is an original holy punk PBTA game created by yours truly, myself right here, built to tell the story of one player, the Godkiller, tonight, Lyrica, and one game master, the god of gods, tonight, Katie May. Together, the god and Godkiller will weave a mythic, violent, and transformative tale about a single mortal rising against the challenges of the divine. So if that sounds interesting to you and you want to kill your own gods, you can. Pre-orders for the Ashcan edition of Godkiller are open right now, so you can nab your own copy while they're still on sale during this pre-order period and get ready for the full release in June. So use !Godkiller in chat to get your very own act of heresy today and to follow Lyrica and Katie May wherever they go on social media. So with that out of the way, a quick little introduction spiel for myself before I just vanish into the ether and let these two incredible god slayers, now God Killers, take the steering wheel away. I am Connie Chang. I am the typical GM and creative producer for this channel that you're watching this on right now, Transplanar RPG. We are an odd transgender, people of color led TTRPG channel set in an original, non-colonial, anti-orientalist multiverse. But that's enough of me. That's enough of my spiel. I'm gonna pass it over to Katie May and Lyrica, and I'm gonna vanish into the darkness. Never to be seen
I miss you so much.
Goodbye.
Bye.
See you again.
Oh my god. Bye. Oh my god. Now it's just an abyss. Hi. Hello. If you do not know me, I am so excited to be led into this house to go completely feral tonight. I am Katie May, also known as KM, the GM, also known as the Gay Master, over for Death to Divinity, the first all-fat, all-queer TTRPG show, where I am usually joined by Lyrica. I am so feral. If you couldn't guess by the name Death to Divinity, we are longtime fans of God killing in particular. So to be let to bring that heat into this house tonight, cannot wait. Oh, I'm so excited. You can find me wherever you'd like to find me at OK Katie May. And if you can't find me there, I'm hiding. Lyrica, what about you?
I am also hiding. No, only sometimes. But hi, yes, I'm Lyrica. I'm also just so excited to be bringing over my god slaying into god killing. Just add that one to my god experience resume. But become a god, kill another god. You know, kiss a god. But
What will we do?
I don't know, probably kiss another god. Who knows? I have hands to hold. But I am Look at Lyrica pretty much on every other platform, and I mostly stream here on Twitch. And you could find me causing more catastrophe over on my channel on there.
Yeah, a lot of catastrophe. The best catastrophe, some might say, though. Sure. And it is a pleasure to be at a table with you tonight, dear Lyrica. I could not be more blessed.
Well, the honor is all mine.
We'll find out who's really the most pleased by the end of the night. As Connie mentioned, this is the final set. This is the end. The final session of the Godkiller one-shot series. All of the past VODs are going up on Transplanter's YouTube channel in the next few days. So check out the other tables featuring absolute titans of TTRPGs like V. Dave Walters and Miss Gina Darling, Persephonoth and Jess Parsons. Oh, Stella Luna and Draconiques. That one was so tasty. That one was so tasty. You had Jeremy Cobb and Mark Muir, and now the end. Us. So if you want even more Godkiller goodness, if you are still not satiated, as I know you are not, you should also be tuning in to the official Godkiller First Blood Prestige podcast series on Transplanar, which follows the tale of a young heretic in a dirt-poor mining town who kills the devil himself. New episodes for that release Tuesdays and Thursdays wherever you pod your casts.
We also have some incredible sponsors for this Godkiller one-shot series. As you can see from our overlay, we're using Roll to bring you this stream series. It has never been easier to customize your games online with this awesome VTT. So make sure you use !sponsors in the chat to start running your own games on Roll. You could also get some information on some of their other sponsors, Start Playing and Magpie Games.
And finally, Godkiller is a dark fantasy series that contains content that may be triggering to some viewers. Content warnings for this episode include fantasy violence, blood, gore, complex and complicated relationships, body horror, death of a family member, betrayal, memory loss, and drowning in past reference. You can use !CW at any time to get a full list of these content warnings. And I think that's it, which means there's only one thing left to do, which is tell the end of a very beautiful tale. Tonight, we know we are the last of the God killings, and we wanted to make sure that you had an ending above all endings. Before we start, you must understand our beginning. So with that, I'd like to pull a little map out and welcome you to our cradle, the last of the hanging shrines. Once there were many, and now there is one. And now all of the gods must split this sacred edifice. This is the most important of our stories, the very few that are left. The foundation of our cradle is not sediment, nor brick, nor ice. Our lifeblood has always been fables, songs, apologues. Each told tale, each piece of art meant another spark of creation. Every spark igniting a star, slowly filling the night sky throughout the ages. And oh, there were so many tales to be told. Each god a facet of fable incarnate, ingenue, traitor, hero, malefact, maestro. Each the stewards of the stories that held them. Once, the night sky was brimming with stars. All looked forward to each night, the chance to see what new stars lined the sky. Perhaps they would shape another constellation, and another spark of inspiration would be found by a mortal, and that mortal would craft another tale to honor their gods, and the sky would become just a little bit fuller. But then there was the turn of the cradle, when God so believed, so beloved, came to mortal kind to pronounce the changing of the epoch. Each story has been found. Our long search has ended. Now we must preserve each and every one of them, lest they be lost to us all. But first, dear mortal kind, we must thank you. As a gift, we bring you each shrines the size of your devotion to hold you safely during the coming storm. This was the first the gods spoke of the devouring's approach. Yet the Harbinger was included by the greatest gift mortal kind had ever received, an untold number of shrines, each sky height, depicting the gods and their fables. And as each shrine erupted from the ground, the cradle turned on its axis. Slowly, then all at once, each shrine erupted in beams of solid light, affixing to each of the stars in the sky Every spark of creation now a cord, a tether to the shrines that would guard us. And now, in our present, the ground has given way, and the shrines are the only home left, suspended by the strands of stories which have only grown weaker over time. As more shrines and stories slowly slip through the cracks, only to fall prey to the devouring. At this moment, all are guardians of the strands, each hoping, praying to keep this final shrine aloft, held above the flames of devouring by the stars. Some guardians are actors, painters, dramatists, villains. Others are thread dancers. Those for who the last centuries have danced across these heavenly threads to delight or to reach other shrines, to rescue all they could before another shred is turned from thread and another shrine plummets into the flames of a fractured earth below. Thread dancers, with all their grace, each pledged to Sophist, who has chosen them in kind. Erudites of each strand, able to recite their stories from memory. They are beloved by the Guardians, and they are dwindling. And they are also you. So, who are you, fair thread dancer?
Asteri thread dancer, bringer of hope, keeper of stories, once revered, now irradiated. The first, Sophist, the great philosopher, the wisest one, the one charged with the understanding of each moral of the story. I wept as Sophist died to my hand. Malfact, the embodiment of evil, wretched kingpin, the malfactory. Those who cannot live up to the standards of the Sophist, hero, ingenue, or maestro, find themselves welcomed through Malefact's debaucherous door. That one wasn't a thought. There was no sadness when Malfact died to my hand. Malfact met their end, much like Sophist met their end. Traitor, a wandering god who inspires the act of betrayal. Whether it was betrayal of confidence, the breaking a promise, or anything of the like, this trickster god sought out every avenue of possibility. Traitor was to meet their end at my hand. Traitor, true to their name, betrayed even the other gods. I was blessed with a gift, and so Traitor was spared. Ingenue, innocent, beloved. The ingenue is here to remind all to cherish everything around them. Most coveted, the ingenue, regardless if it also sits alongside envy. She is not seen often by mortals, preferring to remain within her chosen and her oasis. In ingenue, in her heart, I saw only beauty and innocence, and I could not take that away. So ingenue was spared. Hero, god of all fables. Hero is the center Hero is the reason for the story and the reason for the triumph. But I saw Hero empty, hollow, fake. And so Hero was slaughtered. The only one to meet that end. And now, well, now there's only one left. Maestro. Weaver of all things. And one that incites terror within me. Where am I now? What is around me?
A fair question, mortal. For the last thing you remember, even on the precipices of your consciousness, was your last battle between your so-called hollow foe, the god Hero. You discovered them at the base of this shrine, our cradle, where they sat sunken to the bottom of the tides, a hollow suit of armor, which from you pried the hero's sword and severed its head. This is all remembered well by you. The moments after were not so kind. Yes, all you can remember as you come to consciousness, where even you've not gotten far enough to even process that. No, the only thing you process is the panicked grasp of the yearn to claim the last of those memories of what happened in those moments after you killed Hero. Underneath the tides, surrounded by an inky abyss of water, you were met of visions of the very thing that sent you on this killing path. For it was when your sibling, Olenor, went missing after their fatal crime that you began to seek justice, but you had never quite known just how they met their end. But while you were under that inky abyss, you saw a body struggling to reach the surface alongside you. And as you were thrashing and losing consciousness, you saw the body of your long-gone sibling sinking as you drifted closer to the surface. And now, you are dry. You can feel the warm grasp of the sun through a window resting on your skin as you come into consciousness. This is what appears to you first, the feeling of warmth. And then the feeling of comfort, of being sunk into a bed more comfortable than you ever called yours throughout your time living. A bed almost petal soft, some might say. And the third thing that comes to you is how raw your throat feels. The choking and sputtering against the tides, not so imagined now, which is why you will be starting tonight with one strain. It seems that the night has passed without you, and the window of dawn is slowly slipping by.
As my eyes open, I awake to this warm feeling of comfort, but at the same time, as I come out of that unconsciousness, I can feel the very fingertips of Olenor drift away as my consciousness comes more into being. And you can hear just the faintest whisper of Olenor on my lips as I come to. I'm frantically looking around to get my bearings. The last thing I remember is not being on any type of solid ground.
And yet, here you are, on the most solid of grounds. Once your eyes shoot open, you are met with friendly surroundings. Friendly and familiar. The first time you came into this room was to kill Ingenue. And there you saw her heart, her true form, a single pink rose sitting underneath a closely guarded cloche. And now there it still sits, unsevered by you. And of course, the sun of dawn feels friendly here, because nature has always blessed everything around Ingenue. It is why she is the keeper of the garden, home to many citizens here in the shrine. And you are in her oasis, the place where only her most devoted are allowed.
I tried to kill you. Why? Why did you save me?
Once you ask this, you begin looking around. There is no one with you in bed, but clearly her heart has been left here to tend over you. Though perhaps some other form is somewhere else. You have, frankly, no idea. But as you ask this question to this room you find yourself in, the inside of the shrine, now fractured slightly with the most beautiful vines, all coming to collect this beautiful overhead of roses. Several petals begin to fall and land on the bed surrounding you.
I reach down and I pick a few up and hold them in my hand. Thank you.
So with that, thank you. You see the room change and shift more as some vines on the ground surrounding the bed twist up and seem to unfurl almost to provide you an offering. This single thorn.
I want to take my hand and very deliberately place one finger on the thorn, first gently. And as I close my eyes, I begin to bring my finger down quite purposefully, pricking my finger on this thorn.
Tasty, tasty. What are you hoping this provides? Is this an act of devotion from you?
Yes, I think it's an act of devotion and an act of also just raw, well, not God to God, not human to human, God to human, yes, but something more than that. In whatever human nature lives within these gods, it was an act of connection.
With this act of connection, with this God you have shared utmost vulnerability with, you feel this warmth creep up your throat as the soreness of it slowly begins to fade. The other thing you notice at this time is a burning of the strand you've came to call your own when Traitor gifted you their bow to use once, and one time only. You used it to sever one of the strands for yourself, which you now keep. Well, why don't you describe it for us?
This strand is as much a part of me as my own skin. Where I will it to move, it moves. The binding of this strand was more like a dance. And as my hands wove around the air and moved with my body, so did the strand, wrapping itself around me several times.
As this happens, I think you can go ahead and clear your first strain. I think this is an offering rewarded with attending to your wounds. Seems quite fair to me. But let's not pretend I have not noticed the unspoken emotional strain that you're getting away with just right now. I will keep it in mind. So, as you're becoming more and more into consciousness and this offering is given, you also notice that there seems to have been some sound dampening, whether it was the just sheer amount of vines that were crawling over this wall or in some different act of divinity. Whatever it is, it fades away. And you begin to hear the bustling of the chosen of the oasis going about their day outside. And while for the most part this would not be of note to you, you do begin to hear the word spotlight and devouring being thrown around quite a bit.
As I look around, is there a window that can be opened or a way for me to be able to hear better what's going on?
Yes. So you could probably open the window and climb out to this small trellis that is more decorative in nature that persists on the outside of the oasis down to a lower level to try and listen in from a window. You could also try and really lean up against the door and try your best, but that's going to be a bit harder to glean from.
Yeah, I think I'm definitely going to gather myself. If I had my shoes taken off, put those on as well, and head towards the window. I want to really see and hear what's going on here.
As you head to the window to go to open it, you look in the reflection of the window and see not only yourself. So, in the seeing of yourself, would you take a moment to describe what everyone is seeing as you see your reflection in the mirror?
Yes, you are seeing a very tall, brown-skinned person. They have curly hair that is shaved on both sides, leaving a sort of pompadour curl that go into kind of like a mullet style. Um, they have you can see various markings of cuts and bruises all over them, their face, their hands, like they had just gotten into a battle with a god, as you might say. I think you can see circles under their eyes that show they probably have not had much restful sleep in a while. This was probably the most restful sleep that they've had in a while. They are fat. They also have on these dark black tattoo markings that are dots around the eyes, and also these upside down triangle shapes in between their eyebrows. And right now what they are wearing is gear that would allow them to be agile, to be quick, but also offers some sort of protection, probably a hard chest plate corset piece that goes into very tailored pants with high boots and utility belts that can crisscross around their midsection, holding all of their things.
Lovely. And in the reflection, the other thing you see as well is Ingenue's form. A bit taller than you, just as curvaceous, with hair, a proper princess gold, the same gold as the thread that binds the stars to this last shrine, and her skin rose petal pink. And she smiles. And she asks, "And where is this Godkiller off to?"
Mm-hmm. Well, I was hoping you actually might be of some assistance with that. I know where I must go, but not quite sure about the in-between. I know that you're aware of what this mission is, this journey, I don't know what the fuck to call it. It's all fucked up. I have to find Maestro.
You seek more help from me when I have already pulled you from a depth that would have taken you?
I would only wish the help if it was freely given.
What things in this shrine do you think are freely given?
Not much. I do know that. I'd be willing to give more. I mean, you did save my life. Devotion, perhaps. Prayer.
I think at this time, I think we're getting close to a move. I'm not sure which one, but I'm tasting move juice, first and foremost. As we get a little closer to that, I think that Ingenue, while only appearing to you in just the reflection, you feel now a hand come to rest on your shoulder as she has appeared before you.
I want to go. When I feel the hand, I want to go to also place my hand on top of that hand, just half making sure, seeing if it's real, and half just an automatic response.
Yeah, so you reach your hand up to touch hers, and it is very much there. And it is godly warm, and you feel as it slowly comes, you follow it with your hand as it slowly comes to trace up your neck. And the Ingenue says to you, "Maestro is not hiding. They are where they always are, in the helm of the hero."
I know that you each have your form, your heart. What do you know of Maestro? What makes Maestro? And I think that I guide the hand up just a little bit further. Tick.
Yeah, so you're trying to get this information to just go right to the next phase. You are, from the feeling of it, you are trying to get these kills done in succession as quickly as you can.
To a fault.
To a fault. Interesting. Well, I think, Anjanu regards you for a moment, clear, like, consideration on her face. Before speaking with very distinct purpose. And these words, it's almost like that sound dampening magic is returned. It's like the vines are pulling the words from the room as they're spoken. She says, all I know about the maestro is if they remove their mask before they have reached their final form, it will only make them more powerful. It would seem it would be best that you would force their final form before you can pull their mask off.
I turn, and as I turn to see where the manifestation of this hand comes from, what do I see?
Yeah. She's fully arrived. She's standing before you. Let's say like widow's robe.
Okay.
100%.
I'm going to, is her hand still at my neck?
Absolutely.
I'm going to take her hand and move it over to the side of her neck, and I trace her finger and my finger up onto her lips. And then from there, I'm going to place my lips on my finger that is placed on her lips. Say, shh. I know how this story ends, and I'm glad you're here to see it. And then I'm going to take a while to release my full touch on her touch and head towards the window.
Yeah. There's a soft smile that comes to rest on her lips, and that is mostly passive, but it is very active the way that she is regarding you as she watches you get closer and closer to the door. The last thing you hear before you slide the pane open is just the words, "Thank you for saving us all."
I hope others see it that way too. And I go out the window.
All right, you have fully decided to descend by climbing down the trellis. Very Shakespearean of you. I very much do approve. So there are a few ways to do this. If you wanted to, as a thread dancer, you could take any of the threads that are within your reach to a different location. A lot of the threads traverse around the last shrine, as it were. However, it seems like you are trying to stay close by. If you are still trying to get word from what is happening, what the current straight up gossip. It's gossip. I'll call it what it is. There's gossip in the Oasis, and if you'd like to hear it, you'd best just shimmy down below.
Yes, I am definitely wanting to shimmy, especially because it is not easy for myself to get information. I have been cut off of the luxury of speaking to almost everybody face to face at this point.
Maybe it's a good time to talk about why, isn't it? Let's talk a bit about your stats while you shimmy down this trellis. So you done a lot of god killing. You had a really good time doing it. Good time. I don't know what you call that, but I'm gonna call it a good time. So as you shimmy down the trellis, let us regard. You have some powers that you have gotten from killing or sparing other gods. In fact, 5. So from Sophist, you have gained the power of brilliance. From Malefact, you have gained the power of affliction. From the Traitor, you have gained the power of trust. From Ingenue, you have gained the gift of inspiration. And from the hero, the only tangible power that you've claimed, one that doesn't feel like it's clawing room for itself in your soul right now, is the hero's sword, which now sits at your side. Now, of course, you did not spare all of those gods. Nay, you killed some of them. And 2 of them did curse you for it. The hero didn't get there in time. You received no curse from the hero. However, the first god that killed you, it all happened so fast and yet slow enough for Sophist to give you one last parting curse. Thou shalt not share wisdom. And in that single moment, the decision you had made to not share your secrets with anyone so far, to confirm for yourself that this was true, that the gods weren't protecting the secrets alongside you, but devouring them, that became yours to keep. And you have not yet been able to break it. Malefact's curse has been a bit more wretched for you to consider. Now, Sophist's killing was contained in ways. This final slaughtering of this brain the size of the hero shrine's head with 1,000 speaking faces. That curse spoke to you, seemed comprehensible the moments before it died, and each of the eyes on the shrine of the hero fell from precipice. Malefact's curse was a taunt, a final jab before falling off the edge of the wing of the malefactory, its large dragonous form falling into the flames of the devouring. It was a taunt. Because, well, they don't know you, and they don't know your very alive sibling, Caliadne. He did know your dead sibling, Olenor. As Olenor, he was one of Malefact's most devout, most favorite. And even after a moment of a shared closeness between the two of you, a moment where you shared the grief of that death, you still sent this dragon with a single gold crown upon its head to the devouring. And its last single jab at that choice was, "Thou shalt never know a moral compass." And just as you were drowning and did not know your way up or down, good and evil now feel like unfaithful cardinal directions to you as well.
And so because of that, the hero's death was indiscriminate. There were no feelings. There was no sadness. Simply had to die.
Yes, you killed your sibling's chosen god, Caliadne, one of the most devout towards Hero. You watched as you were growing up them star in the best of shows that were held on the spotlight. This book that is a stage that rests in between the shrine hands of the hero and the ingenue. And now you have managed to slaughter both of your siblings' chosen gods and bring them both to their ends.
I think the only bit of morality that may break through for just a moment, just a split second in time, is the memory of my sibling. If only for a moment. But it's nothing in compared to the curse, and I'm very quickly overtaken with a sense of this is what I have to do, regardless of who falls in the process. And in doing that, getting information any way I can is the most crucial, because the more I know, the more secrets I can find, and the more blood I can spill of maestros. What do I see a lot of people below me as where I am climbing down, or is this a pretty empty area?
So, luckily, there is a balcony below you that does seem to be relatively unoccupied. Yes, indeed, it seems as if almost everyone who would have been luxuriating on this balcony at the dawn now see this statue, these shrines, they are full of balconies. Because this is where everyone comes and sits and gazes down at the spotlight. From every balcony, the stage is visible, which is convenient when show attendance is not so optional. But no one on this balcony this morning, which does seem fairly strange. As you creep lower and try to get a feeling for what is happening inside the arm, her oasis, you realize that not only are many of Anjanu's chosen here, but they are all huddled around a single figure, a figure who you recognize. And there is an element of risk should you try to get closer, because this figure is Kiranis, your sibling Kaliadni's right hand. They are one of Maestro's chosen directors, always on the bill and spotlight stage. And they revel in this fairly often. It is in the most artful depiction that they present themselves, a director's not quite beret, but very like slouchy yet very pristinely placed emerald green hat that gives way to this burning red hair, and just the most authoritative of directors' outfits. There is a suspend involved, I would say, 100%, and a loose blouse. And Kiernes has just conjured this audience around her. And she's speaking of tonight's show. And everyone is rapt. But you know, if Kiranis is to see you, with how hunted you are right now by the more guiding forces of the cradle, you would encounter quite a fair bit of danger. So if you were to try and get closer to hear what Kiranis's plan is, I will ask you to, I think this is you can tell me which way you're doing it with. You can either act impulsively, which will kind of give away your cover, which might be more prone to give away your cover, or you could perhaps try to because I don't think this is too fateful to tempt fate. But if you can really tell me how divine that is, I think I could see an argument.
I was thinking possibly feel someone or something out.
Sure.
If I could get some information about if there is a nearby balcony that I could get a little bit closer, but still remain, have a chance of remaining unseen, that I can maybe parkour my way over to.
I think this is the only balcony within hearing distance, but I think you could try and feel out who amongst all of these people would be Anjanu's most devout and would be able to hide you and get you closer.
Yeah, or if I possibly see, I'm pretty much looking at a lot of backs of heads probably, but if I could possibly see Hilera.
I think the person, Hilira, yes, one of the thread dancers. Was Hilira also devout, a devout follower of Anjanu's?
Yes. Oh wait, Anjanu. Sorry.
Yeah.
No.
The other one, no. Ambrosia is who you know to be Anjanu's most faithful assistant. Probably also an actor in this show. You know Ambrosia sheerly because she is often left to play the love interest of your sister, Caliadne. That is what she is known for. She is your sister's Anjanu, as it were.
That's perfect. Yeah, I would love to see if I could fill out the crowd and see if I possibly think that I maybe recognize her from the back of her head or something.
Yeah, I think you can definitely. Let's go ahead and let's do the feel someone or something out just about this general crowd in this moment. I think it's a good time to lock into that move. So when feel someone or something out, when you try to feel out a person, place, or thing, we'll call it this specific congregation. Say what you want clarity about and answer one, and then I will give you the clarity you seek as I answer the other. So the two questions are what feels welcoming on the surface and what feels unnerving when I peer deeper. This will perhaps give you the information you're looking for, but first you must state what you wish clarity for and answer one.
Is there a person here that is safe enough for me to get information from?
Yes, you were trying to discern friend from foe. Okay, so answer one and then we will see if I can give you the answers you seek.
What feels welcoming here? Oh, that's interesting because I feel like it's the same thing that also feels unnerving. It's very familiar. It's something that prior to this whole scene is something prior to the killing of these gods, I would have had no issue jumping right in and saying hello. And there's people here that I see, that I know, that I love. So not being used to this mode of being somebody that everybody does not like right now. The immediate welcoming feeling on the surface is I'm the act of the performance. It was a part of our lives. It was a joyous part of our lives.
Yeah, so that there is that like welcomingness. There's always such like joviality, like of a new show happening on the spotlight. Everyone considers their like holy doctrine of persevering stories to be a very personal fulfillment. And this is the easiest way to fulfill this holy doctrine. And of course, over the years, they have become this absolute spectacle to come and hear these stories that you must remember should the last shrine fall. So there's an eagerness to it, and there's always a joy to it because it's such an easy way to help and a joyful way to help and a shared way to help, and all of those things are it's a shared beauty. And of course, the followers of Anjanu are going to love that. And the thing that is unnerving as you peer deeper beneath this, and I think that I'll start giving you some feelings for how to get through this as I answer this as well. We'll get it all done. Nail it in one. as you begin to you step into this beautiful like sitting room that is full of disparate tea tables that all have mismatching furniture, and it's all this like very like cozy cottage core girly went to the Garden of Eden moment, and you can see that as you dip behind this first pillar to try and get a closer look of how you can best navigate this moment to get the information you feel you might need, you realize that the group is a little bit fractured. There are some faithful to Ingenue who are sitting a little further back from this group that seems to be doing the relative brunt of the swarming, and they seem to be sharing this uneasy glance between themselves, like they know that what they're being told doesn't line up with certain information they might already know. And you can tell from the amount of reconnaissance that you had to do to get closer to actually attempting to kill Ingenue that the most of the people who are sharing these glances are some of Ingenue's most beloved, most chosen. And as you are specifically looking for Ambrosia, Ambrosia is actually standing directly next to Kiranis, who you couldn't see as well because she's a bit shorter. But you notice that this usually like brilliantly blonde hair that she has is actually faded, a bit duller today. And she is standing dutifully by Kiranis. And you notice that almost in this group of people who are front and center, there is almost a bloodthirstiness in their eyes as they are being told about tonight's show. There is a cutting eagerness to this. Kiranis' voice has not yet reached you.
I know that sometimes there could be not customs, but sayings that would potentially be like a friendly greeting, depending on some of the different gods that people worship. Is there one of those, or like a greeting that would be well known between Ingenue's followers?
Ingenue's followers would be Covet Met.
Okay. I would like to get as close as I can, right up behind the group of Ingenue's most faithful that are kind of off to themselves, and just kind of whisper that greeting behind them, taking a bit of a risk to see what their reaction might be.
Yeah. So you say Covet Met at this as this whispered greeting, and a bunch of them, while trying to not draw attention to themselves in the same moment, kind of jump and look back to you. And while most of them lock eyes with you, and this fearful reproach kind of overtakes their body as they like physically lean back, you see a follower of Ingenue, whose name you do not know, look at you, and with the quickest grace says Covet Met, and pulls off this cape and quickly affixes it on you before drawing up the hood, because you seem to guess that there is a strong desire to not have Ingenue's name be pulled into associating with you even a little bit. This does not look like a kindness to you, but by the way that this devout's eyes are flitting towards the shrines of Ingenue, this is more of an act of devotion.
And in that moment, I will take that as my life is being spared. And I will not say anything more, other than I merely wish my presence for a few moments. You will not see me again afterwards.
The devout nods, locks arms with you, and approaches more of the thrum of this central group, and who is now kicked up in proper. And you hear one of the devout go, "Oh, please, can you at least tell us of some of the characters, or if there will be songs, or the opening scene at the very least?" And Kieranese laughs and goes, "Oh, I hate to spoil my stories ahead of time, but I have been given divine doctrine from Maestro, the most beautiful story I was told in my sleep, but the most important and dangerous one I have ever heard as well. This is the first day in this century of the last many centuries that tonight the spotlight will see a new story. The story of the Devourer and how they were conquered. It will be a tale of triumph for us all. And you know full well that this is the name that your foes have taken to calling you. In every sermon sense, your name has not been yours, yet you are now Devourer, Godkiller. Those stories now at risk of being devoured by you, which is a laughable truth for you, as you know who very well is devouring those stories in the first place.
I think in that moment, I am once again overtaken by the curse, and it almost echoes in the back of my head, "Thou shalt never have a moral compass."
Mm-hmm.
And for a moment, just under the hilt of my belt, my hand dances around a small dagger and contemplates what would be so easy, because none of these things are true. Is there any more that she is saying about the play, or is everybody sort of calming down from the information?
What you are able to glean is that the play is to happen at dusk tonight on the Spotlight. Everyone will be watching, and your sibling, Caliadne, will be playing the hero of the story.
I think I need to be there more than I need to make my way upwards at this moment. It kind of changes my plans of my immediate wanting to rush to Maestro. And I think I will use my ability as a thread dancer to make my way from the Oasis. Let's see, I can go from the Oasis down through Anjanu's garden, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, and then from there, travel down through, would it be like through Savior's Palm down towards the spotlight?
Yeah, if you are seeking to head to the stage where the show will be happening, you have, let's say, 8 hours time until dusk when the show will take place. You
Okay.
have time
Okay.
to do, even if your aim is to stop the show from happening at all. You have time to create and act on a plan. As you head down to the spotlight, yeah, it would be through Savior's Palm. This would be a traveling between several strands, as what bursts from Shrine Anjanu's chest is this beautiful river of gold, of pure divinity that then falls off the spotlight stage. This is still too potent for you to touch, but the strands you can very well dance on. As you head down to the spotlight, you are doing your best to stay out of sight for as best as you can manage. You keep on this hood that was so dearly gifted to you. As you are getting to the spotlight, what is your aim seem to be?
I think as reckless as it might be, one of my aims is to somehow get to my sister. And also to glean more information about whether or not this is a divinely given play from Maestro. What is more information, because it sounds like they knew that this was going to be the end of me. So what is this proclamation behind what is the end of the Devourer?
Yes. So finding your incredibly famous sister is going to be quite the task. You're going to be heading into the ring of the most devout as you try to get to her. Caliadne has a complete smattering of groupies, and also stage managers, and also assistants, and also everything of the like. And so if you are going to try to get into that center circle, I do believe now is the time I will fully ask you to tempt fate.
Absolutely.
So, when you try to tempt fate with your actions, say what perilous feat you're trying to accomplish, get to your sister, and roll 2d6, and you're going to add 1 for each true statement. A skilled ally is lending you a hand. I don't see any friends around, so
not a single friend.
You have no other options. You could go buy a baguette instead.
I could go buy a baguette instead, but also I would like my sister to know how our other sibling truly died.
True. But how you will do that without sharing wisdom will be interesting to see. So, and then you're far from any god that wishes you harm. I'll tell you right now, untrue.
Untrue.
So
untrue.
With that, I think you're just gonna roll 2 dang d6.
Oh boy.
We'll see what our first tasty little roll is tonight.
Here we go. That's
3 and 4.
Hot 7.
It's a 7. So yeah, 7 is, I believe, I think 7 to 9 is the barely of sweet PBTA games. So I think you're just barely getting away with things, because 6 would send you to the abyss. Congrats on your lucky little roll. I love that for you. Oh my god. So with that, I would like to, on a hit, you get through it mostly unscathed. The fates spare you for now. So I think that this single robe is getting you some places. You were given a very lofty disguise. You can, I think, as you're able to use Ambrosia's name to get to the dressing room of the other star.
Name drops.
You just got through every gate on the prayer of Ambrosia. I don't know. And whether or not that is you or Ingenue, through you wearing the cloak of her chosen and speaking the name of her chosen, are faithfully led backstage. Now, a stage manager points at the door and goes, "Is that one right there?" To point at Ambrosia's door, and like turns and goes, "Oh, that costume! Don't let that costume out to that rehearsal!" And just completely leaves you be. And you are left with these 2 doors.
See, there's this silly little pocket inside of the cape, and there's a VIP badge in there. So
there you go. That's what it is. I'm like, I'm in charge of the water bottles. You must let me pass.
I very, as gingerly as I can, friendly as I can, knock on the door that I believe uh, belongs to my sister.
Yeah, so you are in the wings of the cradle. These are two hands that are holding the book that is stage here. Though it is quite funny that it is still called Spotlight, given the fact that what used to be the spotlight was the eyes that rested in Hero Shrine's face, which have since fallen and crashed due to your killing of Sophist. But yes, this is still Spotlight, and you are indeed outside the stage door with Caliadne's name in perfect golden cursive on the front. And then underneath it, there's a little piece of paper that says, no autographs right now, in clearly her handwriting with a frowny face.
Yeah, that's just like Caliadne. And I think I turn the knob, I open the door, and without making a big scene, I say something that would be familiar to any of my siblings. It was something that we've said to each other since we were very young, which is the stories are in the stars. Hoping that she would know right away who was there.
Yeah, so you open the door, and immediately Caliadne starts to go, Kiranis, thank God you're here. Page 7, I can't say. And then you speak those words. The stories are in the stars. And Caliadne, who looks almost identical to you, some might say an identical triplet. The only difference is in stature. This is blessed by Hero. They are much more all muscle than you. You are thread dancer Grace, and this is Hero Brawn. But besides that, there is a lot of mirroring. And with that, those words spoken, Caliadne jumps up immediately, just flushing immediately. It's completely startled, and goes, "You can't. You absolutely cannot be here right now."
Look, there's not a lot of time, and I can't say much, and you'll probably
Jerry, it
never
might
see
be
me
better if you
again.
don't say
No, you
anything.
need to hear this. Oh, this fucking curse. Look, I know it looks bad. I know it looks really bad. Caliadne, I know. But it's not what you think. It's not what anybody thinks. And I only came here to tell you that I will be able to tell you the truth, but not now.
Where is Hero?
I can answer that, but I can't now.
The neck on Hero's shrine has been spilling blood all morning. Where is Hero?
And what about the blood of Olenor? Look, I don't want to do this. Listen. There will be more change. But I promise you, I am trying to save us. Look, I know that we're not as close as... That wasn't ever my intention. I wouldn't ask you to speak outside of or live outside of your devotion. I know what that means to you. I'm just asking you to try to trust me. For his sake.
I think this is fully connect with someone. This is clearly an outstretched hand. So when you try to connect with someone, tell them something intimate and answer one. The GM will reveal a fragment of their pain as the answer the other. The two questions being, what common ground do we share and what still divides us?
I think our levels of our levels of devotion divide us. I, as a thread dancer, of course, was very true to what my job was, what I do, but not in the way that Caliadne is not in the way that those devoted to the hero are. Almost what I would call reckless devotion.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that I've never been willing to give.
Delicious. And that division has always been the steady hand that has kept your sister on the righteous path. The utmost refusal to budge from that line. And there is a shared agony in her eyes as she regards you. For you, who has just relived the horrific perishing of your sibling, your throat tight with grief. That is the thing Caliadne shares with you. But you realize that it is not grief for Olenor. It is grief as she regards you as just as lost.
Caliadne, please.
Please, what? What would you have me do?
Just remember this right here, this time, this moment, my words. Keep it close, even if you cannot keep me close. I won't ask anything more.
You ask me to keep the words of a heretic with God's blood on their
The words
hands
of your
closer.
sibling. Because we were here first. All of us. We existed first before these jobs, before these roles. It was us. I want you to hold that. Even if you cannot stand me now. Not for me. For you. You can hate me. Quite frankly, I don't fucking blame you. But I love you. I love you. Enough for it to be okay if you hate me for the rest of eternity.
What a gift. You are so permissive of my anger, but how I mourn you is no one's business but mine. And you think you know so much more than the gods. But if that was the case, why was I given this letter to give you? She reaches into the drawer of her mirrored vanity and pulls out this envelope with a wax seal with your name addressed on it. It holds it out.
Take it. What do I see?
Yes. So if you regard it, you see that it is just a simple parchment folded with your name on the front. And on the back, as you regard the wax seal, the seal is of an open book. One of Maestro's markings.
Who gave this to you?
Am I supposed to remember the name of every stage manager that wanders in here?
Ones that hand you letters to give to your sibling that is a...
Why? So you can find them and slaughter them too?
So I can figure out what's going on. You know, did you ever stop to think that maybe not everything you were told is the truth? Just for a second. That maybe not everything makes sense and it's okay to ask why. Why am I even saying that? The hero. Why? Why would you think that? Why would you ask that? Do you recognize this book?
Of course I do. I studied just as hard as you did.
Maestro may think that he has everything figured out, but I'm not trying to kill anybody that is coming after me, or it's not like that. Just I don't want to hurt.
You won't say what it's like, and so you are asking for as blind devotion that I only reserve for gods.
But not your family.
Privilege you do not get. No.
And don't you think that's weird that you're taught that we're...
You would see this shrine plummet?
I would see the shrine stand in honesty, in our true well-being. Does this feel like that to you? Truly, sit with yourself a moment. Does it feel good for us to be 2 and not 3? Who was there to save us then?
The choice that Olenor made was his to make. And he suffered the consequence as you shall for yours.
Because it's so easy for you to toss us aside for your beautiful devotion. Well, you know what, Caliadne, I hope you put on the show of a lifetime tonight.
And I hope you repent before you bring us all tumbling down with you.
I get as close to Caliadne as I can without being nose to nose with her. I have nothing to repent for. And I turn around and I leave.
What do we say? 1 strain?
Yeah.
As you pull your hood over your head and stalk out of the wings. Do you open this letter?
I have a moment where everything just starts spinning and I kind of almost lose my sense of direction. I have to steady myself back up against a wall, heavy breathing. And then I take a hand of this letter in both hands as a method of grounding myself and begin very meticulously opening this letter.
Yeah, you meticulously fold it open, making sure not to disturb the seal as you crack it. And as you unfold it, the words read, "I invite you to join me to write our ending."
Maestro. It's an ending you want. And I think at that point I will take the note and crumble it in my fists, my nails digging into my palms until a mixture of sweat and blood mix in with the words on this page, on this letter. Well, let's give them a show. And I will tuck the letter into my corset and make my way out of the main stage area.
Yeah, as you make your way out of the main stage area, and I assume to take the threads up towards the Maestro's Manor to meet, you see that Caliadne's words are true. There is blood, red, spilling from Hero Shrine's throat and onto the many trellises below it. You see last-minute structures being built out to kind of provide some shelter so they can still see the first show, the first news story in centuries be told tonight.
I think I see the statues and I see the blood and I just fucking dramatic. And put my head down and begin to make my way past them and back up.
All right. As you make your way up to the Maestro's Manor to confront the god who is goading you into writing the end of your story, we will take our break. See you in a couple of minutes, God Killers. Don't forget to stay thirsty.
Hello, transplay nerds and new friends alike. Do you want to play TTRPGs but aren't sure where to start? Maybe you don't have a GM or players or a consistent schedule that everyone can stick to. Whatever your obstacles might be, I've got a solution for you. Start playing games. And by that, I mean the website startplaying.games. Start Playing is the largest online platform for players to find a playgroup and professional GMs for any game system and any virtual tabletop. Over 20,000 players have found their playgroup through startplaying.games. Game masters set their own price, ranging from free sessions to paid adventures, and their search functionality allows you to sort games by system, length, schedule, and price. You can sign up with a group of friends or meet new ones through startplaying.games. Whether you're brand new to RPGs, a seasoned veteran, or just curious about what's out there, startplaying.games has you covered. Sign up for a free account today by using !startplaying in chat. And without further ado, let's get right into it.
Oh, howdy. Welcome back, Godkillers. I almost said Godslayers is slightly different tonight. We've got a slightly little different thing. Welcome back. I'm about to bring you to the thrilling end to all ends. We have, of course, our beautiful tale to finish, the last of the Godkiller one-shots. But before we do, I do want to remind you that Godkiller is a dark fantasy series that contains content that might be triggering to some viewers. Content warnings for this episode include fantasy violence, blood, gore, complex and complicated relationships, as we may have just seen, body horror, death of a family member, betrayal, memory loss, and drowning in past reference. With that, oh, Godkiller, would you like to continue our tale?
Oh, I would love to continue weaving this tale with you.
Oh, what a pleasure we have. So, can you, so the one thing I'm going to ask for me, selfishly, is I want to hear about like what it looks like as you are ascending these strands as a thread dancer, right? Are you like gliding on them? Are you like hanging onto them with like your one hand that has the cord on it now? Like paint me a little picture of what it looks like. Because I think it's also the one time that citizens are getting a sighting of the Devourer. Like you are the worst version of Spider-Man to them right now, swinging on these.
Spider-Man! Oh no! Am I like emo Peter Parker? Like alien slime?
Pretty much.
Oh boy.
Yes, alien slime Peter Parker. I said that. Exactly.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, what a visual. Yeah, I think that well, I mean, like, was your idea that these strands are visible to everybody at all times, just not everybody has access to actually use them?
Yeah, so thread dancers have to undergo like rigorous like study to be able to touch them. They have to know their stories very well, and they have to have like an almost intimate knowledge of the divine strand before they touch it, lest they go mad or fry out from the inside, or some equally devilish fate. And so it's a lot of like training before you can even get to that space. So for that reason, they are just decoration to most citizens. Or, well, not so much decorations, but life-saving anchors to the stars.
So I think that it's very apparent when these strands, these threads are activated. They begin to glow. They begin to glow quite brightly, and give off almost this divine low thrumming sound.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the reasons why it is so dangerous to touch these is because you have to touch them with your hands. In order for this to work, you have to become a part of this thread. And so in doing that, your hand literally melds almost, and it's just a light. It looks like a light connecting from your wrist to this thread, and that is how you travel. If you do one-handed, two-handed, I think that I will be one-handed, the other hand just clasping onto my sword, because this thing is massive. And that's what they see as they travel. But I do think that instead of what you are used to seeing with a thread dancers being this glowing, there's almost like this a divine glow that encapsulates them as they are traveling. Mine is more of a darker purplish bluish color. It is definitely not what they are used to seeing when seeing a thread dancer travel.
Yeah, which is why you can hear just the whispers, which is interesting, right? Like it must be whispered shouting from below for the want to inform others of your impending danger, but the fear of bringing your notice. As you hear the word devourer over and over again as you ascend up these two shrined bodies.
And I think each time that I hear this word devour over and over again, it is accompanied by this growing mantra, this curse turned mantra that becomes louder and louder the more that I hear this word over and over again. Thou shalt not share wisdom. Thou shalt not share wisdom. The more desperation that Asteri has in wanting to do this thing, the louder this becomes, until it becomes so loud that there is silence as I continue on this journey.
Yeah, at a certain point, the cacophony of the blood pounding in your ears silences everything happening below you. As you get ever closer to the Athenaeum, the library whence the sophist once taught, a place that you called home for many years of your life. A place that you also tore asunder in your killing of Sophist. A violence that, when you started that fight, you did not understand the extent of ruin you would bring to a place you once called home. And as you sail up this sacred strand and land, your feet on cracked marble floors, books shredded, toppled, littered about you. As you begin to climb through the ruins to make your way to Maestro's Manor. Once halls that were filled with the sounds of gentility, laughter, these sounds and feelings of growing up. Now, it is just the harsh light of noon fading through the eyes that have been gouged. You make your way through this library to get closer and closer to a manor, a place that you've never been invited. You were there once, shortly after the death of Olenor. You were searching as fate had not fallen on your doorstep yet. You had walked up this seemingly secret staircase right into the heart of Maestro's lair. To see something that a much younger version of you spent many days after casting from their mind. But now you retrace your steps and you find that this staircase up, hidden behind a now toppled bookshelf, still remains. Do you wish to take that or the entrance proper?
Before I decide on a method of entrance, was there any sign of any followers being around, any devout of either Maestro or Sophist?
Do you go looking?
If I don't see anybody, I think I will go looking. There's one person I have in mind, and I'm wondering if I see them around them. I know them to be one of Sophis' most devout.
Yes, as you are searching these grounds, trying to find who you are looking for, you realize that this place has seemingly been abandoned. You can see that there are these large carts of books that are starting to be filled up to be taken some other place, that place you have not been made privy to. But this does seem to be abandoned for the most part, especially with the coming of the first ever news story in centuries. I don't know if you heard about that. And so there's not much reason for someone to be here, which is probably exactly why someone who was looking for a place where no one would be be here. And so the closest to, I assume you're looking for Lyrica.
Yes.
Yes. Lyrica you have not been able to find, but you do find Neomeris making out with a fellow thread dancer who's you never really got to know too well, but they seem to have found a toppled little enclave that looks structurally sound enough to make out under.
Neomeris, is that you?
Yeah, so you just state this outright. And Neomeris, he is just a slightly taller than you, much more slender, very much still fluid in those moments of grace, with this long, like sleek black hair that follows that graceful movement from him as well. But this time you see this hair just like whipping as he just turns with utmost shock to face you, and is like, and it just starts immediately like looking for a weapon on him as he goes, you
Yeah, me. What of it?
And at that time he finds the blade on his thigh, this small dagger, and he unsheathes it and holds it out. He's like, what has brought you back here, foe?
Well,
Run!
first,
I'll protect you.
run. What?
The person that they were making out with fucking books it.
Listen, I know that you've probably heard some shit, Neomeris. I don't
Some shit. That's what you're going to call it?
I really don't want to hurt you.
Becoming the apocalypse is now known as
The
some
apocalypse?
shit.
Who the
Yes,
fuck have you
I
been
should have
talking to?
known.
Wait,
You cheated off of me. I know it. During one of our midterms, I should have known then. I should have cried out to have you stopped instantly.
you wouldn't have passed even the first one if I hadn't helped you with the notes that I got from Hilaire. What do you mean?
I see why that is not reasoning present in our conversation. Foe?
Are you really gonna make me fight you right now? Is that really what you want?
Lyra told me if I should see you again, I should strive to scare you off and keep my ears virginal from your lies. He's still holding the knife.
You're touching your face with a knife.
Yes, and I wield it gracefully.
Oh God. I don't want to hurt him. I think that I would like to try to yield a power to scare this.
Okay,
off.
before you do this, I warn you, if you wield the... Let's do it. no notes. I don't actually have any warnings. I thought I might. I don't.
I have no moral compass.
None compass. What power do you wield? I thought that the wielding might have been the ones where you struck it. That's not even this one. That's a miracle, which we're not doing. Scaring someone away is not a miracle. It is sheer power that we are attempting here. So you have been gifted the power of brilliance from Sophist, affliction from Malefact, trust from Traitor, inspiration from Ingenue, and of course has been given the hero's sword. What power are you seeking to wield in this moment?
I would like to inspire him with his absolute worst nightmare.
Oh my god! Okay, are you sure that's not afflicting someone with a vision of their worst nightmare, bestie?
I mean,
Are you sure that is not may happen affliction?
You know what? Maybe.
Perhaps.
You know, let's do it.
Who's to say? Okay. When you wield a power to do something only a god can do, roll 2d6. Add 1 for each true statement. 1, you've done this specific act before perfectly. Have you afflicted someone with their nightmares before? Inquiring minds.
I mean, there was that one time when we were away at camp when I got why am I having such a hard time with her name? I'm so sorry.
Camp?
Yeah. At camp.
Specifically the actual godlike power of affliction, not the camp time break.
No, not
century.
No, not in the time of being a god killer. No, this is I would not.
All right, so we're not going to add that. Do they think they're stronger than you?
I don't know. Do they?
Thank you for asking. He absolutely does believe this.
No.
So we're gonna add 1 for that. And 3. Oh no, sorry. And then 3 is. Oh no, sorry. Not that we think they're strong. I'm reading the wrong one. This is why I have little toggles. I'm playing a little clown. The second one is you're desperate for this to work. You'll have to mark 1 strain to do so.
I'm desperate for this to work. I don't think I'm desperate for this to work. Because I don't see him as much of a threat, really.
Sure. Perhaps if it doesn't work, you might be confronted into violence. So just know this. And if you're close to a shrine, lair, or domain of the god you took this from, close is actually pretty true right now. If you looked out of the gouged eyes of this statue, you would see the very wing on which you slain Malefact. So I would call this relatively close. Yeah, so we will add 1 for just that last one. You're close to a shrine, lair, domain that you took this power from. So we're gonna add 3d6. No, add 1, just as it was just a +1. Why do I do that to myself every time?
2d6 and a +1?
Absolutely.
Alrighty. I got an 8.
An 8? Okay. On a hit, you do it. So you didn't overkill, right? Because this is one of the ones that you would have actually overkilled and it would have been quite bad. 8 is a perfect dismount. It's exactly the amount of power you were trying to use in this moment. I would ask for you to paint me a pretty word picture of what utilizing this power to afflict someone with their worst nightmare looks like.
Ooh, I think that it, on the outside, it appears as something that is maybe harmless, maybe even pleasant. It's in the form of like these, you see like these sparkling little stars in front of this person. This person is not speaking anymore. There's clearly something happening that we cannot see that only this person can see. And I think that in the form of thread dancers, this begins as a dance, almost like a dance of figures within like a fire that you just see kind of like their shadows going in and out, and fully forms into this fear. And I think that this fear for him, in the perfect mode of performance, is him in front of a very, very large crowd, in just his boxers, in just his underwear.
How did you know?
Well,
how did you know this about him? So are you trying to do anything while this power is being afflicted?
I am going to sneak past him
Good.
and allow him to just sit with that.
Perfect.
And I know this because there was that one night during graduation where things got a little out of hand, and he told us almost everything, you know?
Chronic oversharer he is.
Yeah, we asked for none of it and we got all of it.
Yep. And it is his slightly whimpering form that you are able to escape past to get back to that. So yes, you are at two paths now. You can either take the traditional entrance that those who most were visiting Maestro's Manor would take. You are welcome to take it. You are also welcome to take this hidden bookshelf entrance that you are aware of up.
I begin to make my way up into this hidden entrance.
Okay. As you make your way back to this bookshelf that you have ingrained in your memory, it is of course now toppled, but you start heading up this very tight spiral staircase up to the helm above, with this sort of haunting recognition that the head you are now in, you have slaughtered the brain of, and you are now to head to helm to take that as well. As you begin heading up this spiral staircase, you realize that it is more cluttered here than it was before. Now, sliding down the stairs, draped from errant bricks, are these long strands. And it takes you a moment to recognize them, or they give no more life. But these are the empty husks of strands that were once affixed to stars.
Stories, lives, all gone now. I think I run my hand through some of the strands. And just follow them as I continue walking. Is there anything else that I see around me other than these strands?
No, only this refuse would be left in this back room. As you head up, you realize you are reaching the very top of this staircase. This tall door that spans several feet above your head. Once you open it, the place of your childhood memory will return once again. This helm, metallic in nature, the flat, revolving round as its center, and everything else not on this perfect stage, a collection of history set pieces, massive amounts of furniture stacked atop itself until it reaches the ceiling. And with much wiser, older eyes, as you piece apart this memory of what waits you in the door beyond, you can now recall that the murals you remember seeing at the very top of this helm were not carved. No. They were placed strand by strand. The refuse of that which might hold your people aloft. Now a mural for Maestro's Manor.
I think I am brought back to a very troubling memory of Maestro when I was younger that brings up a mixture of terror and anger. It was a moment that Maestro never meant for anybody to see, as far as Asteri knows. But they remember the room, and they remember the spindle, and they remember the threads. And the people, or semblances of what used to be people, that were being very purposefully woven into these threads. And in that memory, I think that I will take out the hero sword and I will just start slicing through these threads on the wall, these pictures on the wall, destroying what's around me.
So, these pictures are still on the other side of the door, which you have not referenced. You have not entered yet.
Okay.
The threads that are surrounding you right now are clearly like a backstock to be used to make them anew. But if you would like to enter into the Maestro's chamber and get to carving, I think that would be quite nice.
Yeah, I think that that memory very much propels me unthinking through these doors.
Do you throw the doors open?
Yes.
Yeah. You throw the door in front of you open with a smash as it hits the wall behind it. As you storm in, you realize that there are more murals now, depicting even more lost stories that have been taken from you. More than you could have ever imagined. There are, of course, many feet up in the air, but quite easy to get to when there's so much furniture piled up outside of this round. Now, as you set to this, your mind immediately set. It is the figure standing just in the center of the round, it not yet rotating, with a simple white mask on. This strong, imposing frame with two maces of gold just swinging down at their sides. Golden strands connecting each of them. They will patiently wait as you destroy what you'd like to. So what do you ruin?
I think that I am going after these stories, and while I'm doing that, I am slashing these images up, saying, "Not yours. This is not yours. This does not belong to you. This never belonged to you. These are not your stories."
You hear a voice whose location you cannot place, whether it is from behind the mask or behind you or in front of you, you cannot tell. You hear, "No, of course, not mine. Yours to devour, right? Carve away."
And I think I began turning around furiously with my blade just kind of swiping, now with anger on my face, but also a single tear streaming down my face as I am just slashing through the air. Show yourself, you coward. Show yourself.
The figure that's standing in the center of the round swings these maces back and forth, these arcs of piercing golden light shooting out. As they do so, you watch one of these beams topple a beautiful maple dresser with 1,000 things stacked atop it. And the furniture earthquakes, falls before being picked up by the rotation of the round in the center. This is... What do you mean? I'm the one waiting. And Anjanu's words to you echo the warning that if Maestro should take off their mask before you are able to force them into their final form, they will become much more powerful and much harder to defeat.
I'm here for your story, your ending. Although I want you to know that it's not going to end the way that you think it would, but humor me. How do you see the Devourer ending, Maestro?
Would you deprive me this one pleasure? For I have decreed for eons every end, and I give one mortal the gift to make their own. And they turn around and deny it. This should be the last time I give any gifts.
Gift? What gift?
You so badly want your story to end on your terms. I am standing here and saying to you, go ahead. Show me what ending you're looking for. There's another swing of one of these maces, and another arcing beam of gold light comes to hit the very furniture you're standing on, sending you toppling down into the round.
I think I immediately try to scramble to get myself at least back up on my 2 feet so I'm not laying on the ground. You keep saying me, my stories, my ending. This isn't for me. This was never for me. You have something that doesn't belong to you. It was ours, and under the premise of saving us, we trusted you. We trusted all of you. And you're all selfish. Just like us. Some gods, huh?
Not just some gods. Yours.
Not mine. Not you. Not this.
You two are both standing in the center of this round as it slowly rotates. You begin to feel this divine energy begin to thrum around the figure masked standing before you.
I think I begin to reach more for my sword to bring it in front of me. And I just begin to be filled with absolute rage and sadness over the things that have been lost and the things that have been taken. He's gone because of you. And I think I recklessly go to inflict violence and swing my sword towards him.
Tasty. With inflicting violence, when you inflict violence on someone, roll 2d6. Add 1 for each true statement. They wish you harm. This is true. You're desperate. Are you desperate?
I'm desperate.
Absolutely. And it's personal.
Oh boy, howdy, it's personal.
All right. You will get to add 3 to your roll. Let's see how this goes.
Glad I rolled the 3. Oh, buddy, that's a 6.
Oh, that means that I get to have a tasty little time. So, you throw yourself into battle with the masked foe in front of you. Your one hero's blade hard won against these 2 arcing maces. And you see chip away at it. Each time one of its spikes bursts right past it. You are dodging these golden beams of light that arc out from it, sundering the furniture and all of the viscera that lays around this immaculate round. And you are so fervent, Godkiller, that the simple details begin to evade you. You do not see the fact, the foundation of this room, everything that is not this round begins to shake. And when this room begins to sunder, crack, and fall apart, down into the devouring below, the evidence of the very truth before you, a vanity that matches exactly to the one that was in your sister's dressing room, topples. Any hint of who you are in combat with goes with it. At once, the helm cracks and then splits in 2. You are immediately met with the color of sunset. His room and metal give way to sky. Everything falling away into the abyss below. You hear screams as the trellises with shade made are broken, as pieces begin to rain down on the citizens below. This round spins. You now realize you are standing firmly atop, now only on the hero's head. Just this round remains. Everything you've ever known down below you. It is not waiting to catch you. But the figure in front of you is suspiciously startled by this very toppling. And between the decision to take in that confusion and advance on an opening when you see one, why? Your moral compass knows no true north but your blade can find purchase. You are going to be able to inflict a blow on the foe in front of you. Do you wish it to be a lethal one?
No, this is a dance. Not yet.
So, when you see this opening and you go for it, what do you seek to do? Disarm them, take the mask off. Remember, you're in my house. You might not get exactly what you're looking for, but I'm willing to hear what favor you seek.
I think that I go to target one of the hands holding the mace, one of the mace.
Okay. You cleave that hand right off. The mace toppling off the side of the round. It has now begun to spin faster and faster. You hear the booming music that's associated with the show on the spotlight starting. As the figure before you falls to its knees, clutching its hand, and when it does, its mask falls off, topples to the ground in front of you. Caliadne is in front of you, now kneeling.
Oh, sister. I drop to my knees. I go to cradle her as she falls. I pick up the mask as well and turn it front and back.
As you turn it front and back, you realize it's just paper.
Why, sister? Why? Why this?
You ask her this as she cradles her arm to her. She looks at you and says, "A hero must rise to meet any occasion, any foe, no matter what face it wears."
None of this is worth it. None of this is worth destroying ourselves. Not these gods, not their divinity, not their curses, not their blessings. None of this is fucking worth it.
As you shout that, the round picks up faster and faster. You're getting the feeling that it is about to reach an apex point, and what happens at that, you are not very sure.
I'm going to actually expose some of the truths of what's going on to my sister. In doing this, I believe it's both violating my curse as well as potentially triggering a divine trigger for myself.
Yeah, we're going to do both at once. So if you seek to violate a curse, the one you're specifically speaking of is thou shalt not share wisdom.
Yes.
Which is the things you have learned at your time here in the cradle. When you violate the terms of a curse, await disaster and answer 1. What shatters beyond repair, mutates beyond recognition, and what shifts beyond your reach. You can tell me which one of those you pick at the end of what you tell your sister, Caliadne.
I think I place a hand on Caliadne's cheek and turn it towards me and look at her the way that we've looked at each other when all three of us would know exactly what we were thinking without having to say a word. It was our secret language between us. It was just for us. And I say, you need to know what happened to them. The truth. And I began to tell her what I saw when I was in the Icker with the hero.
Yes, you begin to tell your sibling of the fate the other met. All it was one ending changed on a stage they were both sharing. And that curtain call, that abrupt end, was the last Caliadne ever saw of Olenor. You tell Caliadne the truth. Everything that brought you here. It comes spilling out of your mouth. Once the curse is broken, it shatters and spills. You speak of the traitor who handed you their bow, of the truth you went and wrested from Sophist and killed them for, of the rage that sent you after Malefact. Do you confess to killing Hero in this time?
Yes.
And you tell Caliadne the truth of their god, an empty hull of armor at the bottom of the Icker that was far too easy for you to slay. Tears are spilling from her eyes as you say all of this. You are having to cling to her as the round spins to a nearly intolerable velocity. At a certain point, you are pretty sure it is your divinity that is beginning to crackle in your form, the strand at your wrist beginning to glow ever brighter. You are sure that this is what is keeping you from being thrown. It is now your time to answer one. And I will answer another.
What shatters beyond repair? Asteri. Even in her sister knowing the truth, even in their sister knowing the truth, it's not enough to transcend the devotion that has been ingrained in her for the majority of her life. Even if she knows that these gods are mostly wicked and have none of our best interests in heart, it's not enough to repair us. And I think that our relationship is shattered beyond repair. She's free with the truth, but we're never the same.
Asteri, you watch as the tears begin to fall from your sister's eyes, become these screams that you can barely hear above the wind that is now coursing around you. As there is this rapturous split between two kin. You feel her just move outside of your grasp. And that is when the round that you are on splinters and cracks in half. And you are standing on top of the shrine hero's face as it falls from its body, leaving Caliadne standing on the tallest mountaintop now you've ever seen. as you plummet down the front of the last shrine. Now, what do you prioritize as you fall? Your well-being or the citizens around you?
I think that as I fall, the immediate thing happening is a sensation that Caliadne wouldn't have felt because she's not a thread dancer. And it was the severing of our thread. Which was something that I'd only felt one time before, when we had lost our sibling. Only when Olenor died. And when I come to in that moment, I don't think that I have time to even look down and see the people under me. And I think that I go to prioritize my well-being.
Okay. Let's say you only add one strain as you topple down the front of this statue, not able to do anything about the toppling pieces around you. You see citizens fleeing from falling history, falling divinity, and yet you know with certainty this is exactly how a divine intended it. You topple and you land. Center stage. Dear Asteri, you are now on the center of the spotlight. The book beneath your feet. You are flat on your chest, blood spilling from your mouth as you look down. And really realize for the first time that this is no stone which these stories are told upon. No, this is paper. And just as you begin to pick your head up, you can actually see a masked shape inset on one of these top pages. Do you wish to recognize a god?
Yes, I think I will recognize a god in this moment.
You want to recognize the signs or influences of a god of the cradle. Roll 2d6, and you're going to add 1 to each true statement. You're in or near their domain. This is true. You're familiar with their gospel. This is also true. And it'd be bad if you didn't know. Quite. So you are going to add 3 to your roll.
All right, here we go. It's an 11.
All right. So there is an immediate striking truth. It begins to resonate in the very divinity in you that has been unleashed, unlocked, since you have spoken the truth to Caliadne. As you are thrumming with divinity, you recognize the face of the divinity that has played with you all day, sending you from their very lair up to this helm to see if they could goad you into killing your own kin. The page atop you turns and sends you toppling, just narrowly evading the river that rests in the center of this stage. As you realize this page turns, it leaves behind an inset, several, like cut snow angels that would hang in a classroom. Several paper figures then, after the turned page, stand upright. You are standing on the heart of the maestro. The book itself is the god you are here for. And it has just conjured several of its own paper kind to see if death by 1,000 paper cuts is a tale that we can make come true.
I look around. How many of these paper beings have been summoned around me?
Even 10.
I think I start at first going to try to slice them with my blade. In my mind, these are paper, they should fall. But I'm not knowing if 10 is something that is going to overtake me or not.
You begin slicing deftly. You have fought so many gods. What are a few paper men? You slice them all down with effortlessness, but just as quickly as they went, another page turns, and there is another 10 waiting for you again. As the page turns this time, you realize on the page just beyond it, it is only half written, still being filled, but it fades away as the page finishes filling itself out.
I think that I would like to try to manifest a miracle in this moment.
Oh? Tell me more, tell me more. So, manifesting a miracle. When you want to manifest a miracle, sacrifice a power. Describe how you channel that power into the world to its fullest potential, then erase it from your sheet. You can never use it again. Usually, when you wield a power, you channel a fraction of the god's original ability into the cradle. Manifesting a miracle is different. For a single heartbeat, you seize control of the narrative. You get to describe how power hurtles into the world to its fullest potential, changing the tide of a battle, reshaping the world, or even altering the laws of reality. The price for this power, of course, is that you may never use it again.
Ooh, I think that I'm going to sacrifice Malthac's power of affliction.
Oh?
I would like to afflict the entire stage with a changing of the atmosphere. I would like it to be pouring rain on this stage where all of these paper beings are located.
Yes. You hear a roar, a crack of thunder before the heavens open up and begin to weep. Rain pours down, a truer blue than you've ever seen, hitting each page, staining it. These paper men crumple and fold to the ground, and the page begins to try and turn, but you notice that its actions have begun to slow. The words on each page, written slower now. You realize that it is describing every action you've taken up until this point. The bottom of the page still remains blank. The window of opportunity is small, but you could have a chance.
Ooh, I, with it pouring down rain, raise my sword, I think, to the air. Not in an act of actually cursing this god, but cursing this god in the sense of my mere words. As I say, you don't get to finish this one, Maestro. But you'll sit in the downpour of the tears of every person that you stole from. And I want to go to where this page has no writing and attempt to plunge my sword into the page and tear across it with both hands on this sword.
You plunge your sword down into the unwritten section of this page, and as it is so satisfying, you know that violence alone, it won't be enough. Not like it was before. If you leave a blank page, there will be room. You, with your sword plunged, with the pages just frail enough from the rain, have one chance to carve your ending. What words will you use?
I begin to carve a very familiar saying, one that if you were one of the three, you'd be very familiar with. The stories are in the stars.
You begin to carve these words. And as the first word finishes, you pull the dagger out, and there is crimson red. Again, the next. You feel the book begin to tremble beneath you as you finish the next phrase. And as you step back onto the hand of the Ingenue Shrine to finish the last of this word, you end your sentence, a reference to the stars, and you pull out this Crimson Hero's blade. And the book begins to curl up in on itself, sending splashes of the golden river it once held flying. A bit hits you now on your skin, and you realize what might have ended you before now does nothing. And the rain washes it away. This book shrivels and then tumbles into the fires that seem perhaps weaker now. They've been the same your whole life below. And as the flames slowly eat the last of the paper, you know, an all too familiar feeling, the death of a god. You feel on your hand a carving of words delivered in kind. As you kill a god, let's see if you do it, bud.
See if I can do it.
Let's see if you do it.
Yeah, I got 2 T6.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's kill a god, besties.
Let's see you get a little curse.
Oh.
Oh no!
6.
Oh, best. Oh no. Well, you begin to see words carved into your hands as Maestro dies. But their last dying words are left with you, a penchant curse. Thou shalt not know stories. And every thread you've ever known leaves you. Every story you've ever told about your family while you miss them evaporates from your brain. Every narrative you've walked with to comfort yourself as you fall asleep at night leaves. And there are massive spaces left in the emptiness that waits for you. As all you hear is screams in the distance of those who just saw the spotlight devoured. You hear a voice behind you. One that was once a comfort. Asteri, are you all right? Ingenue's warmth is behind you.
You turn around to face them. And with eyes just on the verge of spilling tears, but not because I can't quite remember why I was crying in the first place. It's the strangest thing. I can't tell you why, but yes, I think I'm okay.
I'm so glad. There's just one thing left to do before everyone is safe. There's only one left. And you look up and you see that this cradle is only hanging by one last story. In fact, now you begin to realize that it is swinging back and forth. She holds out her hand to you. And she says, "We just need to take care of one last one. And then we can start telling new stories together." Haven't you earned it, Asteri? Have you not earned the end?
I'm so tired.
I know. Do you wish me to take you there? You look so weary.
I would love nothing more. And I reach out and put my hand in hers.
You take her hand and suddenly you are jumped from where you are on her arm of the hero shrine, of not hero shrine, of Shrine Anjanu. You are back on the top, now resting on Shrine Anjanu's forehead. You know the thing below it, the necropolis of the cradle. She now stands there with you in the rain as it continues to pour. The star still visible underneath the clouds. And she holds out the same thorn you pricked your finger with earlier. And she goes, "This is all that's left. Cut it down and we'll begin again. You, at my side, a god proper."
God.
Yes. Haven't you wanted this?
I can't remember what I wanted. It feels like it was so long ago.
You've wanted to bring stories to people, new people. And therefore, we must rid this realm of the stories that do not longer serve us. This is all that's left. And it will be easy now. You are so powerful.
And the stories, who do they belong to?
It will be yours to decide. Any maestro can bring freedom should they choose it.
Maestro. I think it's time for new stories. And I reach up with my sword and cut the thorn.
As you reach up and go to cut this thorn, it feels like there is pounding fists at the edge of your psyche. Things that have not been allowed to enter your brain for curses so wretched. You feel the pressure of this thorn against the strand as you hear a voice just one head away from you shout, "Asteri, please don't do it!" Caliadne waiting on Shrine Heroes. Broken head, weeping openly.
Do I recognize her even at this point?
Yeah. A clinical recognition, if anything.
I think I look in her direction. It's time for new stories, sister. And continue cutting through the thread.
You begin to sever one of the many strands that make up this cord. You see it snap and curl as Caliadne cries out again. "You don't understand. You're giving her exactly what she wants. Look at what you're doing." Ingenue stands behind you and says, "Oh, do not listen to that. Do you not want your end? Do you not want me?"
Caliadne, it's so beautiful. You haven't seen it. It's so... The end. And I think I turn back to look at Ingenue. The end.
Yes. Do you not want me? Ground beneath you begins to shake.
You know I trust you, right?
Yes, your trust is such a gift.
I'm going to... Does sound beautiful. And I'm going to keep my hand on the sword, on the thread, but there's a slight release of pressure. And then I take the sword up.
The thorn you've been given, or your hero's sword? This is me trying to demonstrate the size difference.
I'm assuming I'm cutting this thread with the thorn or the sword.
Yes, and you
with
still have the thorn. You still have the sword at your side.
I have then I have the thorn in my hand, but I've released a bit of pressure that I was putting on the strand. Ingenue, this can't be the end. And I want to actually attempt to take the thorn, and I'm going to put my hand back and plunge not just the thorn, but my sword as well into Ingenue and attempt to kill a god.
So, you strike out with both pieces in one fast, godlike movement. You plunge the sword straight through Ingenue. She gives you a near pitying look. She says, "Oh, my love, you know that this is not my real form." And the ground erupts beneath you as you, still standing atop the temple of Shrine Ingenue, watch as the eyes open to pure gold and its mouth opens, and this beautiful pink rose, 3 times the size of you, begins to spill out as vines with thorns come creeping up the arms of her form. You hear the shattering of stone as her arms begin to move. She is taking full form. She is this shrine, and she will end you if you should not choose to meet her. You realize that the goddess Ingenue was never real. But right now, you are standing on top of the god who was behind all of this. You have finally met the end. You have moments to act before she will seek to crush you, either in vine or stone grasp.
How close am I to the golden river that cuts through the spotlight?
The river spills out of the center of her chest, and it is moving with her now. You, however, do know that these strands of stars feed into her head and turn to river in her temple. Should you bash in one of them, you would also be able to access the same river.
Yes, I do want it to attempt access to the river. I am going to bash at this with all my might. In fact, I think that I'm going to attempt to manifest a miracle to Actually, I'm going to walk that back because I think that I'm still going to need that. I am going to attempt to use the sword to destroy this pillar.
So we've got 2 temples that you could try bashing in. We've also got a massive flower that is protruding from her mouth.
Okay.
This, as you are racking your memory, is probably, while you are having a hard time accessing both compass and truth, you know, at least factually, that Ingenue's true heart was a flower of the same.
Yeah. And am I close to, what is the closest thread to me right now? Oh, that would actually be up in Ingenue's garden, correct?
Yeah, so the only thread that's left, the rest of them are dead. The only thread that is left remains right atop you. While they are dead, they are still somewhat strung. They have not severed, but they are fragile and frail. You could probably step on them once before it snaps. Consider them one-time uses.
One-time uses. Okay. Yeah, I would like to try to do that. I'm trying to get as close to this rose as possible, but I also, while my divinity is awakened, I would like to try to get access to this river.
Oh, yeah. So you will not even have to use a strand to get to where the flower is spilling from her mouth. Okay. Luckily, this is all centered in one place. The problem is that you are standing on the far north of Ingenue's temple, and she is standing pure center. She is a lot bit, actually, some might say, even though she is stabbed through in your way. You might be able to get a lead before her half-dead form has something to say about it because you've already stepped her through, and I would like to give that to you. However, none of that matters should you be trying to unleash your divinity.
Yes, I figured that this would be probably a good time to be divine.
I would love that. What a gift. So Unleash Your Divinity says when you unleash your awakened divinity, which it already is because you brought the truth to Caliathney. So when you unleash your awakened divinity while making a divine move, before you roll, you temporarily seize control of the situation, resolve the outcome as a hit, and describe how your godhood surges forth, exerting your will upon reality. When you're done, your divinity becomes dormant once more. So I have a guess what your divine move is, but you tell me what you're looking at. Oh, you're muted. So sorry. I thought
Sorry.
this was just the
Is it
deepest
my-
contemplation I've ever
so-
seen.
Unleashing my divinity is my
Mhm.
divine move, correct?
Well, it says you're unleashing your awakened divinity while making a divine move. It is just
Okay.
counting a divine move as an automatic hit. To talk in purely like game speak.
Is this river, as far as I can tell, what is giving life to this rose?
You can tell that this rose is rooted within every facet of the statue shrine of Anjanu. You actually believe that this is what nourishes it, almost in a strange way. But you know that there's such thing as too much of a good thing. And like it, in similar stance, you could also cut something off from its source.
Yeah, I would like to use my divine power to I don't know if it would be considered inflicting violence.
Sure.
I wanted to see if
You
I
could
could
also
yes.
wield your new power, which is Maestro's power of control.
Yes. I would love to
Do
do
it.
that.
Beautiful.
I'm rolling 2d6.
Absolutely. And it's gonna actually you don't need to roll any because you're unleashing
No?
your divinity. That's the whole
Okay.
thing. You get it.
I don't have to roll.
It's
It just
yours.
happened.
It's
It's
automatically a hit. It is resolved as a hit. So tell me what you are wielding this power of control to do.
I would like to choke off this rose's source of nourishment. I would like to wilt this rose. And I think that I could potentially do that by diverting this river or by cutting it off of the source of the river.
Yes. As you begin to wield this divine power, thunder gives way to lightning that crackles around you as all of this now growing weaker river, due to the fact that there is yet one storage strand left, you begin to channel it to you. Realizing as you do, the gold that is touching it in places that aren't its thorn burns it, scalds it almost. As you pull the river up to begin surrounding you in perfect circles, a single strand. You have a few options. You could fill the Anjanu's mouth with this river. And essentially choke it outright. You could use the velocity of this pure divine power to sever the rose from its stem, killing it. Or you could melt this entire face, but the strand might go with it.
I think Ingenue could use a bit of, I don't know, standing in Asteri's shoes. I think that with this power, I begin to divert this water straight to the throat of Ingenue, feeling it like my throat was filled when I was deep in the thicker of the hero.
Yes. You seek to drown this god's true form, and you do exactly that. You watch as the rose slowly burns in the gold, as you watch gold begin pouring from various cracks that were made when the vines crept out. And you see as the hands that were slowly reaching up to grasp you begin to falter. One falls. The fires below you are growing dim. I think it's time you killed a god. Roll 2d6. It is time to kill the end.
It's a 7.
A 7. On a hit, they seize something vital from you as well. Name what vital part of yourself you lose.
I lose my ability to feel love.
Oh no. Yeah, you are watching this rose begin to die. One hand still on the blade that Ingenue is resting on as it's plunged through her chest. And you watch as she brings her hand around the hilt and pulls herself closer and kisses you once. The softest kiss you've ever imagined. Before toppling back on the blade and into the open Shrine Ingenue's mouth to drown with the rest. As the last of the divinity that rules this place dies, you look down and you realize the preordained end of your entire civilization, a devouring that was waiting for you. The fire has eaten every other shrine, every other bit of history. There is a burnt world below you. The fire has gone out. You have two choices. You can cut this final thread and plummet everyone in the shrine to the earth below to begin anew. Perhaps with an easier start to a healthier society by your vision. Or you could leave this strand intact and hope to bring these people kicking and screaming into a new age. While you are not a god, in this moment of choice, you are certainly theirs.
I think I take another look up towards my sister. Do I see her anymore? Does she realize what happened?
Yeah, so she is still on the precipice of this head, fading in and out of consciousness, whether by the presence of this extremely divine energy or blood loss, hard to say. They are fading in and out. But they cling to consciousness just enough to lock eyes with you. And they say, "Thank you for avenging him."
Ariadne, your story won't end here. And I'm going to choose to preserve the strand, with her knowing and accepting the truth. It's worth saving.
You make your way away from the strand and back over to Caliadne, and you take them up in your arms again once more. Her strong form looking much frailer now, but there's a certain resoluteness to you. You know she will live. And as you two are sitting underneath a single star, she asks you, "Would you like to hear a story?"
From you? Like old times? I would love to.
And the two of you sit amongst a broken shrine to gods who never served you. And for the first time in a long time, you hang a new star in the sky. And that is where we are going to end tonight's story. Thank you for sharing it with me.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Wow. I'm gonna clap. And I bet everyone else in the audience is clapping right now because, oh my god, holy crap. That was amazing. What an incredible way to send off not just this session, but the entire one-shot miniseries of Godkiller. Well, another round of applause. Everyone put applause emojis in chat. Put that you're clapping.
I always wanted to give you a
Wow.
proper ending. That was the
We had
whole,
to go-
that was
we
the
had to
whole
do it.
idea.
Yes.
I was like, what does the proper ending look like?
Oh my god, well y'all nailed it. You nailed it. That was more than proper. That was beautiful. Wow. Wow, what a triumph. As I'm processing, because I have so many things to say about this, because this was such an incredible one shot. Katie May and Lyrica, why don't the two of you introduce yourselves, tell people where they can find you, because obviously we need to be following y'all. We need to be, like, we have been supporting and watching Death to Divinity and everything that y'all are up to, but please tell people, remind them where they can find you and what your projects are. Let's start with Katie May. Go away.
Hi,
Not go away,
I'm
but
Katie
take it
May. I'm leaving. Bye. I make my gods much harder to kill usually. In Death to Divinity, they just gotta get one, and they haven't gotten there yet. So, if you want to come see me make Lyrica fight for it, not like this wasn't fighting, I'm so cruel. You should come check out Death to Divinity. It is with the dearest cast, my best of friends, all fat, all queer. Come see yourself as a hero. I invite you to come join us. It's truly such a gift. You can check us out at twitch.tv/OKKatieMay. You can check me out with the same username on Twitter. And thank you so much for having me at your table tonight. Truly, it's been a gift.
It has been a gift to have you as a GM and Lyrica as an incredible god killer and player here. When I was putting this together, I was like, we have to have the Death to Divinity folks come on and be an integral part of this. So I'm so glad y'all were available and free and interested in this, and that you brought your expertise to this. And speaking of an expert in drama and performance, Lyrica, where can folks find you?
Not the expert. Hi, I'm Lyrica, and when I'm not killing gods and being really gay with gods, I'm over on twitch.tv/LucasLyrica, where we play a bunch of stuff. And when I'm not there, I'm over on Katie May's channel throwing dice and, being hot with more gods. It's just a never-ending, messy gay god fest, and I don't apologize for it. So that's me. Yeah.
Heck yeah. I mean, the tragic, messy, queer, god-killing stuff. Ugh, I'm gobbling it up. I was slurping it up like soup.
But you gave me all of the ingredients to this soup.
Exactly.
Following
your
written.
recipe.
I was I've been figuring out exactly what stats I wanted my gods to have, right? And what exactly meant killable to a god for me. And then you handed me this writing, and I was like, I've been ruminating on this for years at this point, and the gift has been delivered unto me by you, and I will be homebrewing my little heart out with that.
Yes,
just how those gods are made up is just art. The writing is art. I could not encourage anyone more to go check it out. It is so worth your time.
Oh, wait, thank you so much. That endorsement means the world coming from the God Slayer themselves, Katie May. So thank you. Wow, I gotta put that on the cover of the Ashcan now. Endorsement from Death to Divinity showrunner.
Buy the Ashcan. Tell your friends.
Open your wallets.
And your give me your money. And your hearts. And your hearts. Yes, I do. In that order,
beautiful, tragic gay stories of gods.
That's all you need.
Exactly. This game, that's literally the intention behind writing this game in the first place. And the two of you took the assignment, you killed it. You killed the assignment. It is slaughtered in pieces, cracked, shattered like my heart. What an incredible session. But yes, thank you everyone so much for tuning in to The Last Dance featuring the incredible, incomparable Katie May and Lyrica. This was a truly amazing game with such an artful, poetic, emotionally realized world with a very hot and very complicated pantheon of gods, very unique as well, with such a complex, layered, and artfully portrayed and driven protagonist, played by Lyrica, of course. I'm gonna be munching, ruminating over this for months, for weeks to come. This has been sadly our very last one-shot of the Godkiller stream series, but fear not. As we mentioned at the very beginning, all one-shots will be available on Transplanter's YouTube channel in the next few days as I get around to doing that as the producer. And in the meantime, if you're craving some longer form Godkiller content, then you should check out the First Blood Prestige podcast series wherever you pod your casts. It is the Ashcan's official podcast series that follows a heretic from a dirt poor mining town who becomes embroiled with a priestess, a knight, and the devil himself. And First Blood features myself as the GM and C. Thomas as the Godkiller. So if you like queer, messy, hot tragedy, that is the place to go, my friend. That is all I am selling in terms of the wares in my store. So new episodes for First Blood drop every Tuesday and Thursday with 16 episodes total. We're almost halfway through the series now. We're coming on to the midpoint this coming week, so add that to your podcast rotation. And finally, of course, a big thank you to our sponsors for this whole one-shot mini-series, Roll App, Magpie Games, and Start Playing Games. And now that our one-shot mini-series is over, it's time to gear up for the next leg of Transplanter's journey, which is our second main campaign, set to debut on Saturday, June 24th, which is on our 3-year channelversary. And campaign 2, without giving too much away right now, is codenamed Chaos. And we'll be releasing more information about it on Twitter in the next few weeks, so make sure to follow us there at TransplanterRPG for all the latest deets. And that's all for tonight, folks. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Listen to First Blood, watch campaign 2, follow Katie May and Lyrica, watch Death to Divinity. And we're going to be seeing you later. In the meantime, let's go raid Total Party Chill. I believe they're playing some good TTRPGs. So tell them we said hi, use the raid message in chat, tell them about this amazing masterpiece wrought by Katie May and Lyrica, and we will see you when we see you on the flippity flip side of the debut of Campaign 2 for Transplanar and on Katie May's channel for Death to Divinity. And with that out of the way, goodbye, friends, and farewell, heretics.